Like I get tired of all this, right? So, um, like, do you have specific things that you're doing? I know at the talk that I was at in New York, you mentioned a nonprofit organization. Like, what are you actually really doing tactically to help Black creatives, Black youth that have a vision that might need a little extra to get somewhere, right? Like, what are you actually doing?
But one of the main things that I've been doing, or we've been doing with the business is trying to do more in community in general in London and in and around certain key cities with design schools, namely, I don't know if you've heard of Central St. Martins as an example
Oh,
in the UK,
yeah.
which is one of the most
Would you
esteemed.
say that again? What is it so people can
Central
hear
St.
that?
Martins, Central St.
Central.
Martins, St. Martins, yeah. So some of the UK's greatest designers have come through that school. Do you know what I mean? And working with organizations and teams within that sphere for me is a way that the brand can actually give back. We have an apprentice scheme within the organization, which have been involved in and support with the business to look at how we get different people, all different backgrounds and different ages into the organization, and try to amplify creativity through that lens, right? So for me, yes, it's great being at the front and it's great having certain aspects of visibility, but there's also, I think it goes back to this whole thing about team play, right? I just come from a place where um, I've been exceptionally lucky to get to where I've got to. Um, I don't always necessarily need to be in the front. To be in an organization like Docs or any other big company that I've had the pleasure of working with, being at the back and having the opportunity to open doors for people. So if someone comes to me as an intern and say, I want to do an internship, or I see a great CV and I open it up and I speak to the person, I can give them a role and a job in that company and they can progress in the company. For me, that's as important as being at the front, if that makes sense. Um, because you never know what that person will end up in 2 or 3 or 10 years, and they could be the next creative director of Celine or the next design director of these companies, of which then you might have the opportunity to go and work with for them. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I look at it from that side. I'd rather lead from the back than necessarily be at the front, because sometimes at the front and this is what I mean by what some of our creative leaders in the last 5 to 10 years have done is they've broken down the doors already. And do you know what I mean? And the door's semi-open, and some of them have locked. Some of them have closed, but the lock it hasn't been locked. I'm just trying to get back to some of those doors and opening them and letting some of the people through the lens of having the opportunity with a brand like Dr. Martens to allow other people through, if that makes sense, right?